everybody. So in this video, we're going to take a look at the second lecture related to elasticity. In this video, there's two things. One, a little bit more about price elasticity of demand, and two is a second type of elasticity. So let's get started. The thing about adding to our price elasticity of demand is something called total revenue. So total revenue I just give to you here is price times quantity, right? P times Q equals TR. And that's just how much money is coming into a business. And knowing the demand elasticity helps a business determine how changes in its revenue might be affected by changing the price. So this would be a really important concept, right? If you were thinking about business or anything related to management. And so if a business, I'll give you an example here, if a business knows that the demand for its product is pretty inelastic, it's pretty vertical, how would a potential price increase be reflected in revenue? Well, if we knew that the quantity stayed about the same, right? Quantity stayed the same times an increase in the price, then we'd say total revenue should increase because the quantity stays the same, price goes up, then you get more total revenue. Now, that's an important observation, and there's a really quick and easy way that we can actually see the relationship between some of these factors. In fact, the three factors are price, total revenue, and elasticity. Now, I know that it wasn't as clear here, but basically, if you know two of those three, then you can actually figure out the third one. So if you know the price and you know the elasticity, then you can tell what's going to happen to total revenue. If you know the price and the total revenue, you know what the elasticity is going to be. So I'll show you what this test is, right? It's a total revenue test. It's very exciting. So bear with me, right? We're going to have to stand up to do this. So I want you to do this in your room too. Stand up. Now, if the price, right, take this hand, left hand, and say price, and then this hand is total revenue, right? So you have price, total revenue. Now, price goes up, okay? Now, if you can see, price goes up, total revenue goes up, right? And then you're like, what does my body look like? My body looks like an eye. If they're both going the same direction, we say price goes up, total revenue goes up, then the demand is inelastic. Now, if you knew that if you lower the price goes down, total revenue goes down, your body is still inelastic. So you would say if the price goes down and the total revenue goes down, you're in the inelastic range. Now let's see the other one. If the price goes up, right, put your left arm up, pointing up. Right? I can't point too hard because I have a ceiling fan, I'll smack my hand. And then your total revenue goes down, you're stretching way out. You're stretching. So price goes up, total revenue goes down. You're in the elastic range. If price goes down, total revenue goes up. You're still stretching out, right? This time the opposite way, and you're in the elastic range. Price goes down, total revenue goes up, elastic. Now, if you knew, let's get back here. If you knew two of those three, then you can figure out the other one, right? So if I told you that the price is going down and you're in the elastic range, what's going to happen to total revenue? Well, it'll go up, right? Price goes down, total revenue goes up, you're in the elastic range. Now, this is true because elasticity actually changes depending on the point on the curve that you're dealing with. And I know that yesterday, or the previous lecture, I showed you like different curves and things. Technically, elasticity actually describes the change of quantity demanded going from one price to another. It's not like the entire curve. It's like from this price on the curve to this price on the curve, this is what the elasticity is for that range. Now, that means that depending on the part of the curve that you're in, you will have different elasticity values. Now, don't freak out. Don't freak out. There's a very easy way for us to know, well, am I in the elastic part or the inelastic part? And just don't worry about it, right? The simple version was what we learned already. This is like one little added on thing. You'll get it. So we're going to draw two graphs off to the side, and both of them are going to have the same quantities. Now, I'm going to advance our slides a little bit here. And so this is that idea, right? We just saw inelastic, inelastic, elastic. Now this picture is really scary, but it's really helpful for us to understand what's going on. So this is going to be the price, total revenue, quantity, and quantity. Now, we're going to say maximum price is 10, maximum quantity is 10, and this is a demand curve, right? And the midpoint is 5, and that's also at 5. Now, if we just kind of quickly think about this demand schedule and total revenue, think about like price and quantity and total revenue. So if the price is 10, then our table says, and our graph right here says we sell 0. right? 10, 0. So our total revenue is 0. So that would be there. But if we lower the price to 9, we sell 1, our total revenue becomes 9. Now I already kind of know where this is going. 5, 10, 15, 20. So the next one is going to be like right here. Oops, make that a little bit wider. So it's 9. And then if we go to 8, we sell 2. 16 is the total revenue. So that's 10, or sorry, that one was like 10, so that one's 15. So it's like here, and we just move down the curve, okay? 7, 3, 21. So the total revenue is 21, 6, 4, 24, 5, 5, 25. And notice that it's getting bigger, but it's slowing down. And then we lower the price again. We sell an additional unit, but our total revenue falls. We lower the price again. We sell an additional unit. Total revenue falls more. And it falls even more, down to 9. And if we lower the price to 0, of course, we're going to sell 10, but we don't make any money. And so this demand curve, right, is this downward sloping line. But if we were to plot the same quantities here and see like, well, what does that start to look like? It's got kind of a nice little parabola shape to it almost. And now mine's not that pretty, right? But you can actually see what it does here. And in fact, if we test it out with the total revenue test, we can observe that there are different ranges in this demand curve. So case in point, let's say we go from 9 to 6, right? 9 to 6 on the price. So we're going down in price from 9 to 6, and we sell 4 more units, so up the total revenue curve, right? Notice that we're moving down in price, but we're selling more units, and that's increasing our total revenue. So this is the elastic range. Now, on the other hand, if we were at price 4 and we lowered the price to 1, right? Price 4 and we lowered the price to 1. Well, yeah, we're gonna sell more units, but what will happen? From here to here, price is going down, total revenue is going down. Notice that total revenue is now going down. So this must be the inelastic range. So anything where these kinds of things are moving, right, from here on would be inelastic, and from here to here would be the elastic. So what's that middle point? That middle point is unit elastic, and that's the point where the total revenue is maximized. Total revenue is maximized. So I know that this seems really intimidating, and I've heard that over the years, but what I'll tell you is that you're not going to be asked to redraw all of this. What you will be asked to do are interpret, and generally speaking, if you can remember the total revenue test of elasticity, right, price, total revenue, and which one is elastic and inelastic, you're going to be just fine. You're going to be just fine, okay? Now, moving on to the second topic today is price elasticity of supply. This is the relationship of price and quantity supplied. So we would say price elasticity of supply is the percent change in quantity supplied over the percent change in price. This is basically saying if the price goes up for the product, how many more units will the sellers provide? And so generally, if it's a 1-to-1 ratio, it's what we call unit elastic. And so you have that nice upward sloping line. But if it's less than 1, right, then that means it's much more inelastic supply. And you can have a situation where the price could go up 5% and the sellers aren't going to provide any more. When would that be? Well, stadium seats, right? Think about it. Like in a case of a few days, you really can't change the number of seats in a stadium. You know, you could add a few if you had enough time, but in a short amount of time, you really can't. You know, oil is another one where they can't really overnight open a new oil rig and an oil refinery and an oil pipeline and all that stuff. They just can't. So there's a certain inelasticity of supply where they just can't change how much they're supplying based on the price. There are certain products, though, where they have very elastic supply, and they would have kind of more of a flattened out line. That's where it's easy to change the inputs, where, you know, there's a ton of different inputs that you could use to make the product, and you could swap them out easily. Okay, so elastic supply, that would be kind of, you know, things more like a retail situation where you might have, you can quickly, easily provide a whole bunch more, you can get more workers pretty quickly, and that sort of thing. All right, so hopefully this helped you. I'll see you next time. Bye now.